hand into your electronic copies of our Black Manoff or electronic copies of all the pink sheets. And police for no and as a task force no mojuman sai. I say to meet Jinemu no more because the commitment they made to us transcends the election. And the election also out of goodwill, out of the desire to make sure say peace. Abeba ama man for ehunu ama no ne ehunu say election ekoi wentwu bia bam na His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia opega na ye nti opasum bi nti no or consider a record time I'll consider my end is for take advantage me manya nti empo say a friend is saying damango nsem omokeka wo ho no enye sem ketwa but actually based on the counts of my 91 out of the 91, I think 91 out of the 93 polling stations, and Elnaba Abujinapo is leading. Now, pay me by a crame studio, a crane ubi kasa awo. Independent journalists, many journalists from Media General Kasa, regional rep for Channel 1 TV for Akasa are independently, they are confirming, say, largely, the situation a war Damango says here is caused by the NDC. Omunim say omolusu intino. Omo person omo creative problems. Techima North, Techima South. The same issue is happening there. From what we understand, pink sheets in India, they don't have records of the pink sheets. Oma titini but the question is, I didn't na NDC for ISR. Yajatum say your papa John Dramani Mahama winning presidential, but there are two different elections on two different ballot papers, so they have to count them separately. You cannot take the victory on the presidential side, akwa to say yenti Mahama winning tia a friend is a parliamentary candidate and say winning. Now Damango so krano the edru ne say omo presidential coalition no krano omo nyai because any is for the makwami yenye. Intino the edro no some idea I think say nyoma nipa mienu and I say to me a boa Ghana say a friend saying election tax security tax force no say omotumi hwe na edwuma no omoyewi edwuma no eda ho ase obokoso provide security for the EC, ensure say the political parties who have vested interest are not the ones running the process. So much to make sure, sir. And secondly, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the president-elect, I said, "Utumini in the party for Kasa." So to me, the party for Kasa. Say, "Beya, omobe ma easy for ayedumano." Baby, I was say, say MPP for so ethical sim. Eko kase, oh, yantiase, ye winnie, na kwa ye wenchia, peace pact na ye sign because peace no anaye peno is not peace because a friend is saying baby bakubi and asemo. We want complete and absolute peace. And it say damango a problem say see anwa, then we have not achieved that peace. Say Okaikwe Central is in some kind of dispute, say Sianoa, then we have not achieved that peace. Say Ablukumanov, our confusion, he say, I mean, no, Kaseya, we don't know what is happening from now, where we are now, then we haven't achieved that peace. Techima South, the issues there, no, say, and resolve here, then we don't have that peace. Intino Mesre, say, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the president-elect, I didn't know form. Na on the party for Akasa. Say Ajubre. Adia no the ya or ye declare or no say we win no and as when ya abanmu dudu no. And no every say nipa ma kwan ma easy for quality. Senke ya ma kwan ama easy for and quality and a man for or at all coalition centers, constituency coalition centers, create problems are. Anka eneno nka enyan hunu dia we win abai. But say nipa ma kwan me kan abano de onya adodo yakase ono and wenya adodo aye presidential no nya conclusion wo ho no until say bia ye twen say easy for be confirm no say peace na eba ye ma obia record yen and as ye quality can number na boss no and the man basa enti put a constituencies na aka no on any party for nkasa say omunyai ma easy for nye omedwuma Momon koho enkoye to trasem bia ewo bebia omon tran chen na say isi fo wie said the omo wie ono so ne de no a ene yaje atomo no na yehunu de we wini ana say de o wini but sa pata pa na omo de ba ne de omo ye ne sa peace party a ono edi enimu sign ne ma NDC for sign ma ne ho no sa peace party na akoba ne say omu ni so ye enti ye besere say ombe make sure say one the party for bekasa the other issue say be our person or obisa question.
Oh, there be also.
And it's apart from the issues to do with the constituencies and the parliamentary seats now are stacking up. There's a general chaos. Koso and now me videos be from Tamale, warehouse. Say belonging to some state agency. NDC 4 etu ahye ransack sa installations. I think say baby a democracy na eduro no yakọ enim pa yakọ enim bebre yes say sa nyoma we no ye makwan ana sense ye makwan se mpanimfo a ewo NDC mu no ese omotumi kasa Matias ye say omawini amamani agede but say NG no should not translate into destroying public property. Police stations be wo ho so omakoto ahye ho na e bubu glass na yes no ekosi sen enya aban sike ya na say taxpayers resources ya na ta akoko yusu e de esiesi ye problem here financial ye pesika e de ya nyoma asom Ghana enti say mo wini aba na mo ba be take over aban no mo say aban nyoma ansa mo be take over na mo say de hwan sika akwa siesi enti ye besere say NDC mpenifo ne omo nkrofo enya kasa kire na omunyai omo jubilation on betumi aye without destroying public property, without intimidating people. My main same way and right press conference general secretary Emma press conference be concerning these issues parliamentary seat me no come wasabi you know young boys, almost about 20 of them efi agbogloshi no mbabeto me wo office wo no mo nsem nyina ne say NDC fo ato ahye omo so ho epamo omo say omo ma omo enya honotra ma pamo omo efiri ho ai omo say omo nim no omo sa ba bio a omo bro meko omo sa de we enya de a say ye fo aso ma ne koso yesre say victory na aba no echina no ebesan adane we omo ye mekai pa 2016 yenso ye wini enti eno ma wini no echina bio ombelusu ade na next 4 years you say akwa battle say bana omu lusu are they expecting say MPP for be react sa kwan yeso ana enti omo to omobo sa ehunehuna ne sa patapansam ne abro a ye de oman no yenjai na say victory na ba omo to omobo omo wadwuma ye pa omo ankasa no em say be di hu nkomo kakra omo amakan sembebre ayi omo so mbaye based on their flag bearer Ekai, we hold them to account. Unlike them, will not be disruptive. You better near making sure say some of Mokayano, ombe diso, ombeye, the almost ombeyeno, abwa magana kodim. And tis a jumano edaho, I saw moye. Now the more a fan chain SS and yoma any amount for air conedy, mesrese ombejai. Na Ghana, yakuidim. Na victory abano, and your victory a more lances say almost say and as someone fapatapa and fambe better than power Ghana.
And I need in common one of the major things here who is more defeat and I'm kugu no bronibeka emphatic. Another one so you hear reporters near the say low turnout nipa bibrianko toaba. Especially when with two major strongholds, Ashanti and Eastern.
Yeah.
At the end is here.
Chama General, say election Emunsem Bebre. Say wow bekai ye campaigning one of the cardinal issues for us the apathy, voter apathy. And say campaign na no. Na ehun nyina so ni nyina say ye be galvanize party no na your constituency party no na omo to me aye adwuma no na ama your party no Kenya abam ye wo hwa enunti na ma His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia oko constituency bia awo Ghana ha na oko constituencies ni na no hold events din Kenya kese pa beba party ni enti na yenim say voter apathy de na a concern my enti we are not surprised generally, though we they to me as to address that apathy issue no. It turned out say on election day no nipa na to me MP said the pen
because enra answer better as enra come ha no na analysis no o share about to dodo a ora John Mahama nya 2020 and then nya 2024 difference no so
exactly hona na me ko no
and nya mumu nya de asote kra
sa
to aso
ni nyina ko si say wo hwe sa difference na che say yen crofo mum MP ankwankoto aba no the energy and momentum no was on the side of the NDC among crofo mobilized am I ready say on beto aba senke crofo apie koto aba no a nka meka tro say no nka we are not speaking of a president elect His Excellency John Dramani Mahama nka or His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia nanka ene oye president but eno no ayesu ehunu bi ayenya nyoma akofa we nyina ba ye mse ye party ebetena se ne ahwehwem na ye ahwe kwan abefa so a dachi bi no se yenya akonya wa me hwe kwan se enche bia benya akonya bi asa ba bam because enuma ya sha ase no me no kasa no pe me nigidie bia kra se NDC for betumi asomu a omeye amagana for akoso anya ho mfaso bibi to say free SHS no I have big doubt saying this for betumi afine the resources omeye bibi to say agenda 111 me very concerned say NDC for end to me and twice animal so enti ehunu ayenya ana say say anche bia no me sure say party no ebeti kofuku bi a ometumi ahwe election mu de baaye de asese ye de ntumi anye de ye ya ebo aye ene de ambo nyina no omehwehwem na ye de aye hwehunu abo aye but typical issue say numbers na nkasa e confirm ni say yen crofo MP ankwankoto aba na that issue ne enim ye hu bia say ebetumi adane no but result no issues yen to me unsucceeded ye be hwe strategies I use here to say be man Kenya aba party na nipa no etumi epia koto aba no and say issues are lead to that apathetic behavior no I notice here ahead of time no say behaviors and I say ne ye akofa ba ye no ebetumi ahwe na apɛ kwan abefa so akire bi no yetumi aso
mo supporters ni bi ka say time omoka apathy asema kire mo no man find your juma. Time omo catch him say I say aban no any party no mtemache na muntie. Omo complaining about my appointees. Omo complaining about nkitahudie na muntie. Aya say aban no sronko and a party no sronko. Some men omo complain so muntie. Ntia na fedie. Majima ni so answer.
Oh,
ana efutu sakra nipa.
Well, efutu sakra nipa. Na
agin so hwe.
Efutu sakra nipa pa. The any say enukre sa issues no ebaba ya but metumi aka actually pefe say kwan bia so no penifo eto anamon say concerns ni nyina no betumi address but akwakoye say you need time and our issues no so no bebre na expectations also are very high and meeting those expectations and so be fakwan bi so no to me addressing all those issues no and not from sir but the ba kwa no kure chama general and say penifo antianda concern bi aba ye bia no omo ye ya say ombetumi aso ano but then say dwuma na do so na so so enti no ne ye no aya na need time nanka ne papa mu anka betumi a resolve sa issues ni nyina but practically no say humanly possible no mo ye de betumi aya senka yenya America kranka betumi as resolve that issue ni nyina akwa ye nipa ho adwuma enso so enti ya mfum so ho bebre are free so ho na onim your politics so no are very busy and time very demanding enti meka say nipa bi an sheda say yenti eba say appointees complaints are all keka no amanfo kan ya chama general but akwa kosi say government ne party issue no enya nne na about President Kufuor we had the same issue relationship between party and government you know idea I think say we need to find a way to address that. I'm saying NDC will encounter that problem, MPP encounters that problem because before abine babano na party ne wo enti abine abano a party ne dia abine abana abine wo so no abine ababa ye Ghana fo nyina dia. But there is a legitimate fact say and as a feeling say yen na ye party no na ya ye dwuma ma aban na ba. How do we as a country ye ko enimo no ye betumi ahwe sa interaction no between the party and government no enye we nye NPP for asem nko NDC for amabai we did a matter of days me know kasa kura no those rifts are starting to form. Yes, idea so we dealing with. So we have to have a national consensus on that or conversation. Or maybe, we have to learn from other places. Say the omomosi yomodieno. Na party abaya party akofaba. Or the abaya ba nkutangudie ben necessary a war abaya any party in them. Say ya we young fat sanyoma we mu. But for the meantime ne kwako ese party ni feel say ye ne de abaya ba. And the albino should attend to the party more, or there should be a certain relationship to be benefited party. No. That is your norm, say or Ghana, NDC, MPP, send the TN no. A quite bad so. I'm saying to me, I try to adjourn the quite say a person.
Yebubo Subono, Mefaba Combo, me sure say what me sure say making so you take it, on your chin. You say Wankasa as party communicator number 1. When promote party no government ye ekaho and as a party no government jinja and edian na esu kwan assume say na mo kan no kre
well
okay say ahiagba nankasa no as onyehye on project government on project party ebiso say you had your issues edian na esu kwan
me issues need the kano my so and as kano or platform ha
na just say no question now issues
there be adwuma issues so ho and you know kosi say e bepe kwan a obepe kwan ba fa so obetuma resolve those internal matters no but no dey a work in progress your how wo ho I say that may be no say party no etumi pe kwan bi na yehunu say your structures no ye de be adwuma na obi a adwuma ye de adwuma ma no ye ma no kwan ma na ye na adwuma no ye ma ye create parallel systems bi am be sini kwan no internal matters are I think say as time goes on ye be resolve but those were some of the challenges but in terms of the substantial questions say man projected party no said they say me no and no penny every day bia aya newspapers obe amakwan say yemra mo studio na yen discuss the aban na ye ene the aban no person wo ye ana say bibia ntiase enye adwuma papa say ye boa no say nyoma da bia mbe to sa ensan ya frɛ o studio ha MPP ni ebetena ha MPP ni ebetena across the country on a daily basis MPP for eco studio eco kasa omukwa project party no
wankasa so
me ankasa so
but una na say ye de so bo no bo because una now ye panyimu director of communications
but the juma no national na structure party communication and kasa nko administrative largely a kwanya all faso and making sure say every day biano MPP or representation on any platform ebe fresh say yembe yi nsemano no your representation wo saadie no yaye na on a daily basis no sanyoma na ekoso no na ye the speaking notes and as a guidance your person issues we yenye the say near tenetry enti enye say bia de bia no mewo and e chese me ye adwuma na asa me nye adwuma no adwuma no mu kese na nkasa no is offline yes say oh yeah no no back radio so no make say bia no yeah about 5% of the job I say me yeah as communication director. But it say to see to the welfare of the team, to make sure say the communication team is trained. As a communication team, no, in some way I saw mother call in Chirimu information as munya any other matters are affecting communicators. No, you have to make sure say ebeye. Instead they say obawo a Peace FM DBR a juma nankasa no ewo the administrative side I said me to nti saa no man nyina yetumi aye obi ntumi nka say enne no ye hwe MPP ni bi say ombeka MPP asem ane ye nya da bi obi ntumi nka saa but say me ankasa meba TV and as meba radio no meba on the regular no every day say manye any projection kra no a na nya say me Twitter handle any news you generating online my man 14 your mass so every issue be on a daily basis no we making sure say there is a way the information be told out based on yanchire mu a yehu ne research no through news portals no na ma journalist for ediaba na ya chire mu ewo your Twitter your Facebook and who draw so your by disseminating information now you're making sure you're making sure say your no information or radio betumi akoko chire mu enti adwuma no de enye say bia meba radio so nko na meye mostly administrative and I say no de me sure so be betumi aka now me council aka ho on and say your party shishe no ye buy no one of the orientation they buy a party headquarters and then they say ya tro aboye your office work say party communication no party members ni nyina adwuma ya said your constitution no akase subia say as a party member no you promote to a party ni dimpa ni party ni nyuma enti no you making sure say train ya dey my communicators no ya dey my party for the bia issue omo ne omo kasa and they say we your party ni we your communicator we your party ni a communicator in fact and only one of the biggest challenge aya obia our party ni mu etumi ya communication juma. It's one of the structural issues I say. Obia to me feel say because we communicate or to me constitutional amakwan say or communication or to me take over communication space. But what I say and I said yeah what party member be aso no say the other assembly by a party near I say or to me ten who say on kase ahiagba na project party no anasa ban no. Okay. Or no, so as a party member, no, dear no ye boy, because your constitution, actually, so your party near so projected party. Na no abwa am yaku anymore. Enti, a Juman any dear, men can nada, minimum say, akobadi say, the son, and the public I say you, and I say, but Osha, impediments, no, dorsal baby. How are buying in our dorsal, but and yet net and you back casa mano. But baby, I say, no. I say, Gani a pen if you are about to him, yanya. But yet, tea once say a yejumading, ne correct it, son, you may be a buyer. I affect Juma, say ye nim, say bet to me a win, including a party a buying in our. You bet to me, I'm making sure. Say 2028 no MPP be winning many man no see all issues no now before question the buy no now all count numbers no
yeah
so that number we know actually say internally issue we know I'm say you lose election a young crop for na anko to aba no but what you say say young crop for anko to aba no aden chino anko to aba no and no ye Richard Ahiagba na say a project party no as omo ankasa anko to aba but what you dey maybe sana say entino yan party for no a ebia adeba akubi ankoye anasa sembi abana ayeye ya na yafa ho abufuo se yenkoto aba no Yetiasie, de bia me call Ashanti region, I me call Ashanti region pa. And if de bia me call Obiano, this is one of my communications. Say, I had a part in the from so, and yen sorry waka, no mad dear, yen to me yana to de bia. But you are by Munkwan dear, you bet me as resolve some of this problem. And yen to abandon na by Nembra. And it's our issues, no. And no, it's not about projecting the government. As far as a Juma we share the combination between Jubilee House communication, a deep president, a chief, Juma be a president, be biano, na yeka, publish it, Eugene, yes, I deal way through the press call. Sanyo may in our echo. We share Ministry of Information, and also say a buying, and also so a buying who deru, echo. Party communications and so and the end to me ban is party communication kwana nye juma but yeah but based on the numbers yenyane say no and the way adeno ekoba say 2020 numbers yenya yentumi anya sa number no saafo no bebre no ye yankasa ye nkrofo yenim say that level of apathy which is intern I say to me ehwe ekwan ba so ano no and no na kofa we buy when am fa a buying projection ho because say we mo yankasa nkrofo it means that they know about the government, they have information, but say bibi anya nipa anya sa boniface no ana say ebia ye behwe say party no ebe wo power no be hia ye more than say bia ade bia ehia ye ankasa ye nya no ntino ye buefu no eno no na cover we buy nye ade a obi be kanya no kreda say bia reach down project party no there be so kasa na okwa say Jubilee House communication and project abano Ministry of Information and project abano but enye no kre last during the campaign no Juma Minia Fatih Abubakar call regional conferences to project their abina a massive worker they biara da president Beko baby president Juma Biano FE press call Jubilee House press call Eugene Edano party communication every day program biaso radio village bia ewaha Ghana nipa eko kasa ema party no and constitution so ashe nyina say as a party member no say o kasa ma party no say o promote party ne dimpa ne nyuma party ne ye enti we nye Richard Ahiagba adwuma nko ye nyina ye adwuma say ye but this time no nye time wa say ye political party said ye flag bearer no kind no ye lose battle no but we are still in the game. Here say to be closer ranks. Now ye introspection. Nyoma anko ye no. Ye nyina ye take responsibility. Now ye say kwan ben so ne de befa. De hia pa ne ye say osono no besan gira na so. I mean nim say betumi enche bia. But say ekoba ne say ye de sa blame we na anye de djuma we na anye djuma no. No momu no e be affect ye more.
Talking about the blame, I mean, Tienya Ebi Eka, I'll say the MPP's major challenge began when the president refused to address the concerns of party members, especially on the issue of the finance minister, Ken Oforiatta. Remember that today, John Mahama has 2/3 in parliament and can do anything he likes. He can use parliament to remove the EC, the Chief Justice, without MPP. He can even use the numerical strength for martial law, food for thought. Echo from Kwabenya, and he says blame the MPP for all of this. Tell Ahiagba that Nanado was the chief architect of the party's abysmal performance. He distanced himself from the concerns and views of party supporters and demonstrated this issue on the finance minister. MPP as a party doesn't listen. Kwadwo Usu Ewo Ablekuma. Usomze.
Chama General, any kind by any day, I think say you do but Bintiasie and as a mine minuanwa or the assembly ban, mine nyadwin pepe se Nanado Danko Kufado and oye Osia Kwai and I say Oha MPP and I say the near a creative defeat. I don't know. I think that we shouldn't engage in that conversation. But me bo senka eba ne say nipa bi say oh sisa Osimesi from this ministry na president sisa we ne yempenasem enti sisa no asesa we sisa no asesa and no will create difficulty ama nipa no ama president no ama amemu no ahwa anko yi ade ba ko a say yete ase ne say the difficulty of governing a country is one thing that we have to appreciate. I think the time now you mu issue ni ba say yenyi finance minister free on. But I think say bebre no aka the justification the entire say we ni free ho na say say ne ya say no. Na eno no na kwakoye ade bi a akwatia ye no. Well, I don't think say right now no you want the information to conclude say eno and akofaba. And no can be a reason, but yen to me can say and no pepe and akofaba na say no kwa and akofa a defeat naba. Ebiomo no and he say yen kai hunu say finance minister no. Now he was in the middle of a negotiation. I think say President Pokai ran around the time where a friend is saying IMF and Komoyi start here. And you know, in the middle of that negotiations, no, that presidency, and it was a process. And you know, oh yeah, ya ko see maybe ujaya ubi betumi abesum aye amanako akosi ye no aboa Ghana no. O mane koi. But in tentem hono no, yen to me kase president anye ni ntino wafom. Ono na odikan ono na ehunu bebi ade ni esiko. Yes, mejitum se yene a ye wachire no se otosa na echia ese ye kachire no. But ye kachire no so ono na odi enimu no. Ebia bibi na esi kwanti e na wo divert ama ye wachire ehunu se ade no echia. Enye se bia ohunu se echia. Anase ohunu se hawo ewo ho. But ade potin a e ha adwini nti a ontumi nyi nipa ne emfiri ho no. At least wate ho akire yen se opese owie sa IMF negotiation no na owie a etumi amanako wo enti no ya famu de se ye beka akire ne se o esa no wo to no echia kakra but ne nchia ni mu no ono no a odi enimu no ahese ohaw bi na wo ho nyese bi a ohunu nti na achia but onim de nti a achia so okoni tin a anhwe na asem bi akoba enti wo chia no se ya beboa enti ye no ye betumi aka de but my enka ne bebiri anase enka ne se eno nkoten na akofa we aba eno no be ya asem a mega se ye ka ye pray ho reach some conclusion bi a emwa edwuma na his excellency na do danko akofo ado aye no chama general Ghana ha nyina obi agitum se akofo ado aye edwuma pa.
Well,
why Juma Bibri any Ghana obeka say Juma is excellency na nado danko kufado ababe ye Ghana 8 years yekwako wie 7 January no yekwako wie no obi ani ho obeka say Juma waye no ebi nka no obi ani ho obetumi aka say efie bi ani ho obeka say Juma na nado danko kufado be no wenya ho mfaso de ye ne say amamu no anase democracy no ye guso aye nyini emunsem eguso a eba nipa etie ho ase it is no na me hwe se yete ase ankasa ekokosi bebi se democracy no se de tie ni enye se bi a tinchina me ankasa menya personal benefit bi ana se nyoma enye den kra na ye se democracy no ebeye but at the end of the day no the choice no yen Ghana for the say ye be peke obi se ombedi enimu. Say choice no nipa betumi aye based on information, nipa betumi aye based on emotion, nipa betumi aye based on sadia obi hunu ye ne hini anase ntokwa bi anase bia enye ne de will make that decision. Enti no mayemfa defeat yi ho enkoka say obi na anye ne adwuma na nado aye no Ghana be ye kra behwe say edano na His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ka say oh history will be his judge. History or posterity would be the judge of Akufo-Addo's work. Meka say edwuma no awaye no chirima ba benya ho mfaso chirima enye benya ho mfaso Ghana na ye wo sisi na enya ho mfaso abato na aba and people Ghana for akasa omo eyi di omo pe eno no enkyere say Akufo-Addo anya edwuma anase no enkyere say eno anama ye lusu ye nim structural difficulties ayenya no enam eno so ntino abato no anko yi amayen ye beko de akwa organize ya fa sanema we muda de ewo ase ye kachire ye nyina na ase ye nyina ye tie ho ase ne say mayem fa we aye we endi enim kan ye nti ase say party ye nyina ye dia ye nyina wo asedia da ye so ase etumi make sure say ye be ye Richard
Ahiagba, Communications Director, NPP, Nyatin in Kano. In the meantime, now, Kasa Election Security Task Force 4 should be up and doing. Many information say 12 people have been arrested in Damongo over political violence. Damongo Nipa 12 Yachum. Chairman General, the District Assembly elections experienced similar low turnout in Greater Accra last year as a result of apathy, but no lessons were learned. Ofe Kumi. One of the reasons for the low turnout is that when some of us saw what was happening on the ground prior to the elections, and we wanted to alert some of the party executives, you will call and they will not pick their phones or return your calls. K. Riafe in Kumasi. Dr. Baumia was left on his own. I congratulate him for his hard work during the campaign. May Allah continue to bless him. Chairman General, the president seemed to have valued his finance minister over virtually everybody. It was part of the reason he did not respect us. Kwame Inadenta. And then J.C. Boakon says, yesterday, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, chairman of the NDC, stated categorically they would not tell their supporters to stop destroying property and causing fear in some areas because he issued a letter to his supporters in 2020 and the EC changed the results. Anyway, it goes on, J.C. Boakon and a day and no buying. Chairman General, isn't it strange that the supporters of the NDC, the winning party, are the ones rather destroying state property? What is going on? Up to now, the leadership of NDC has not come out to caution their members to stop the looting and destruction. Anyway, Hussein Abdallah, student, Tamale Technical University. Okay. The only person that can stop the destruction is John Mahama and Esiedun Ketia. George sends that one. I think Mr.
Chairman, Nidi Kain, Amincha. Your chief for any Yashafoni, any Minia Richard, any prof, and I'm in charge Republic of Gamaga for.
And then there's a voice will patch up, a jambrim kaka.
It has a chairman, we say, I'm in charge Republic of Gamaga for.
Yeah, Joseph.
If you buy in chairs, now, Neokos, you mamsha in free disturbances post election. See, I think say a year unfortunate. Yenina ese kasetia enyadia ebua. Ghana has grown to become a model democracy na ebimu eswe free yenho. Ghana uko bibia, and if you travel to other African countries now, yeka amanyo sem ana kabina min kabi amamwo hun sema. Usually Ghana is the reference point. Na yenya ya evolve up to this point. Yetu abawi na fi ne yenhuni enyadia etwe. Looting is a function of overexcitement, but it is inexcusable. And Nikwan say a man for Bekwako because looting they technically manu and can yama buying yama ana or mino a japadi Nikwan and chairman is becoming worrying. Say about what time draw na Ghana ha you can say you're too this idea yes we are consolidating our democracy no. I feel a year 2 during elections is unacceptable and we should not allow it, we should not accept it. A idea a max no so. And your crown is a be more fem Eshro Munkwa. Chairman, Kabina min Kabi, like Yanko ye opinion form bedi and then somebody loses his I mean you want in here is sad and is unacceptable. Na say opinion for ni na ekasetia whether those who have won and those who have lost. Ghana ntina amanyosem ewo hoi na say yekotoaba say yepese ye opinion for na ewia na obihwe no kwa. You can't enjoy power knowing very well says you did so on the back of obia wiwu. I think say nya de eboa opinion for so mukasetia ye bambo for you they need to up their game, meaning say or mu yadi or mu bomb modern but yɛbɛpɛ sɛ yɛhu sɛ nkurɔfoɔ a ɔmu saa nipa bɔnifoɔ ɔmu kɔdi saa bɔni yɛtumi kyi ɔmu. Now this should not be one of the usual. Say according to say during elections there prosecution of crime goes on leave. Nti sabi nipa ndi no bɔni a na wafa no huedi. We can't have that. Elections they have found, look, the law does not stop working because you're too about.
Yeah.
The law must continue to work even when we vote. So that a man for being who say who could do boni during elections are you bet you. And we should stop wearing crime with party colors. We should stop putting party colors on crime. Boni we obi di boni a and found say nipa ni NDC and MPP or di boni na muchina say muma onimra no AD. And it is unacceptable. Now ushe management of small arms regime now, Chairman, it has left a whole lot to be desired. As I said, we even have an agency that is responsible for the proliferation of
small arms and light weapons.
What they are doing. Chairman, apart from conferences, means they don't whom tangibles are yet to stop the infiltration and proliferation of small arms in
the small arms and light weapons is not physical meet me and stop, you know.
No, Chairman, what you saying?
Said they raise issues. It's like a CSO of sorts. Even though sending more of a state agency, you know.
So but advocacy is all they do.
Many didn't come a few times. Okay.
But
I don't want to blame them.
It's just advocacy, but I think there should be an allied state agency. And stop Saad Manu from coming in. And Mijidi said all these things pass through our borders. Maybe a chim and Chapisa at the port. You see, a bit more to na. They can say disintegrate weapon no. No more the pass na she other new maybe no more the aba and udru port once you bring in a barrel you be a barrel no crown shame. So that's how they get these weapons into this country. Chairman, where there are guns, safety is compromised.
Yeah. And
found bamboa war, you can't be sure of your safety. The very minute who say you can say two and other weapons are prevalent and are very common in your country. Until say yeah my niko and untina and no beer to two and no beer to two. It's becoming worrying, and this is not a trend we want to encourage. Now peace pact here I had issues with it because it has no binding or biting effect. Well, and one say just like some routine exercise we are here every 4 years starting from 2012. I hear some time ago during elections now we have code of political parties code of conduct and no to trust MC and all that there were categories, but because the SCS all they could do was to name and shame. I think
a quick one will be the Abasa they don't disintegrate the weapon, they disassemble.
Me,
okay.
That's
until what they buy that's it. Until disassemble, not disintegrate.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And as a CSO, there is very little I will be to me. Say yet to me, Sapacho Musain, and come managing code of conduct. There should be some law baby tied to that code of conduct, so that the very minute you sign, now BBC ACR, somebody should be held responsible. Until going forward, we should move beyond just signing documents that have no legal or binding effect to Nyoma Obi di Bonia. I say that deal with I can say commission of crime, but specifically on elections, there should be some special arrangement and a dispensation so that we are paying we cheat up for Kodi Bonia. You should also be held liable. I think say no bebwa. Mika enu ewie no say tensions aba collation centers name say ehona sisi a etutrasem no AC no. Let's appeal to everybody say let's continue yankoso and maintain this image of Ghana as a hub of democracy. Now Mr. Obia say it is not in our interest. It does no credit to our image as a country. Say yebe we aba yekotun fefefe na reports ebe pie ha kwa bonten say ewie no kra se bi nipakum ebe mu enya dia eboa. Meka enu sa ewie no chairman. Remember the very election you saw. So election is an interesting election. And he has brought to the fore a lot of bitter lessons to be learned. I say yes, she had the free elections we mu. Needi kan as a man for and now you can say a man for ATS about to we a one son so yet to Abamawa. It is as a it is an endorsement of the of you as a candidate and an expression of confidence. Say you would GD or Muso Betty BB. And for the most part, near Wakachom so bayeno, and who GDA now, yadi two abano. As a two abano mount, now you take them for granted. Electricity, like we always say, power emanates from them. Omuna 2 minutes in a ekrom. And yet the 2 minute mawa, because you are the president, you have somewhat unlimited powers. Now, if it's you become insensitive to the electricity. Electric be a new how bebo electric be a new how obey Nanso owo tumi mrapono ediamano to deal with you after 4 years, and that is exactly what we are seeing. Near resources are by outcomes are yehui any implications. My assessment of the situation, the tragedy that has befallen the MPP, the FAPIM, and the president of this country. He has invited this calamity upon the MPP. And there's no way, there's no mincing words about that. There's no way to massage it. What you say, and this is the only president in the history of this country, and this is practice that is common over the world. Say, you're maintaining the back in one position for 8 years. But President Akufo-Addo, why? To the extent that some ministers need be some of the appointees no mumbo number BM Ghana for kept reminding you say enkoye or you're not doing so no the open or yeah because 2 minutes in ekura no there's a 2 minutes in office ekurawa as I can say microphone ma 2 minutes they will punish you when the time is right, and that is exactly what we are seeing near me and say there is an unfortunate victim in that process or you're running mate. He is the unfortunate victim of the actions and the mundane sins of Akufo-Addo. Onuna Sebi, the defeat that has been handed him, it is because he suffered, the sins of Ora Akufo-Addo. To the extent that make appointees who has me, who finance minister. Look, the economy is the cause. Everything else is effect. Any apomudin they emanate from how well or otherwise the economy is. So economy no edge and you have more revenue. You'll be able to do the kinds of spendings you want. Social spending no be timia, capital spending no be timia. But so economy no sika sem tutu any engineer and nanswa. She knew about timia be ye. Until the economy is the cause, everything else is effect. Now Nipa now who is responsible for managing your fiscal policy or my economy he ran the economy aground. Obia can say, hey, near papa ye begu animasi begu economy no see there be only he's the finest finance minister ever created in the history of this country. On Obia na any MPP ne humiliation that has been handed the MPP. Chairman himself says there is a danger even to our democracy by the attitude of the president of this country.
Are
near why ya mind Mgwazia Abeka MPP says there is an absolute majority in parliament. That is the first time we are having such an experience. And do you know what the implication is? Chairman, our democracy is under threat unless Nkrofo more absolute majority decide say they will do good by Ghana now ombejin Ghana home, and they will not take undue advantage. They will not unduly exploit the advantage of Muwe. Because says here that is the legacy of Akufo-Addo, that leaving behind an absolute majoritarian parliament, leaving behind a parliamentar that can rubber stamp everything. Because if you have 85 MPs on the other side, they're not beating me. Look, Nientia is always interesting to have parliamentary debates and listen to people argue on the floor and say, numbers na ya ebembeng. And if you need like 2/3 majority to pass a bill and an agreement, you would need to convince the other side to support you. But they say near minority for and that is the legacy Akufo-Addo is leaving behind. He is leaving behind a legacy of a tattered MPP. An MPP look, it's not recognizable. And he's leaving also behind a parliamentar. Any Aji majority for mobo and decide say Nye yebeyenu for and in the name of Ghana. And yen dream among yourself who enquire maybe. Says here we are the mercy of one political party. And Nina Ejina Akufo-Addo so. Chairman, he is the alpha and he's the architect of this tragedy. Chairman, in 2008, when you enter the turnout for this year, AF that low no. It's because you see, if you analyze elections using a different medium voter theory, two parties have core supporters. That is what it is. But those who always decide nyobe win, you know, the medium voter. Yet have from floating voters. So if your core people refuse to come out and vote, can you say other side no more voters in our bow? And the extent to which he has messed up this country, you know, floating voters need be able to Obama the other side. Until we call number, the voter turnout is going to be affected. In 2008, Esan said, Oura J. Kufo, Eye Jumadin, Eye Jumapanti. The turnout in 2008, the average turnout in 2008, it was 73.58%. That was the national average. And who caught their strongholds? You can use that to reference and to represent Omuko support. No? In Ashanti region in 2008, the turnout in Ashanti region, first round, 73.58%.
Okay.
Second round, Shutukrako 83%. Which means that there was no apathy. Apathy is a function of hopelessness, any disappointment. And yet, you know, him say, near Mampenyim Beye, and Nebama supporters, no, feel disappointed or encouraged. What is here? To the extent that one gaza uncroft for ye two for a wound ye. Uko bebia, unya vos do na ye complain each say, or how are ye timuni? Shena boya, Ozio, Kokromotini, the Amupa Muntu Mumpa Muntu, Emamuntu. And that is what has happened. Oh, and like I keep saying, people are underrating and underestimating the sophistication of the Ghanaian voter today. Voters are no mutu about 92, 96, 2000. And your muna, ye di to about and you. You call their bluff, they punish you. What you say? And Chairman, why not go cast me in Ashanti? And President Akufo-Addo.
So, Karen.
Say, when they complained about Muros, and I'll say, I go Kromotini, and Momuntumano. Then if Ehunsu Zazone win, into why not go and they were not just saying they're Kendi, ya Kwai, which means there was an issue with Rose. What you say? The Sika 72 years is here, the chairman. And everybody's feeling the effect of that. When any President Akufo-Addo, because Nipana, we say Ombwa and share fiscal policy so no. Na nyoma agency wangaza uncroft in parliament etu for say sisa pepe. When you say I mean by uncroft na omo picketing as if on ejaye.
Yeah.
Because he brought with him some great deal of goodwill. And none style no a different kakra. What is here? Uncle Oyen in Tema Bia would have had some economic relief. But 1 year he felt say mina 2 minute crami near me pen a me. Na ne open away dear and was as one into Subuano and man van Bobia. Chairman, look at the campaign over Baumia. Yeah. In my estimation, he has campaigned more than any other candidate in the Fourth Republic, whether incumbent or opposition.
Why would you say that?
Chairman, look, if you watched his campaigns, he was all over the place, everywhere. Oye Jumadin, but the outcomes don't match his input. And it is all because of his boss. We're dinner, bro, and we're deep MPP party now, bro. Chairman, for the first time, there's no safe seat any longer for the MPP. And that's the legacy of Akufo-Addo. Say all corner, say see is safe, Edima MPP, say they no longer have it. Just say every seat is now up for grabs. Yet me ko GCT BAB. Share Domiko Abenya, who would have told me in my wildest dreams, say Domiko Abenya would go.
But what does that go to do, Akufo-Addo? How about the party in the constituency?
Oko Menshia in 2016. Then Yura Ekachren. Say among for the commonly buffon and two abano. Don't take them for granted. He took us for granted. And the commonly buffon and two abano. And look, the voters were like, we are sparing nobody. And it was me saying this hurricane, political hurricane, is a function of the anger Ghana for a woe. Until now, almost it doesn't matter. Baby Ayewobia would translate her anger into votes. And because core voters would not vote for the opponent, Omudia young compo na are quite tempted to vote for the opponent. Into young so
and only apathy,
And apathy is negative votes. What I say, apathy means you are losing votes. Omuna ombeba more votes na kosro. Omuzi omunko. But the others will come, which means who votes SOT. And you mentioned it. So if you look at the increases, John Dramani Mahama
about 200,000.
What is here? But look at the decline in the votes of the MPP. When this is the legacy of Akufo-Addo. Oba he came, he saw and he destroyed. There is no way. There's no way I'll bet me a massage na mana. And the MPP before Epenukra. This is the hard truth they ought to tell themselves. If Owura J. Kufuor near Akufo-Addo ayeya, would he have been able to secure 49% in the first round and even in the second round? Turnout in Ashanti in 2008 was 73.58%. There was no apathy because they were not very disappointed. But who are penso? Jama Mobo. And this is the legacy he's leaving behind. Now, Richard Eka said history will be a judge of Akufo-Addo. Certainly. But they will condemn him. The judgment that will come on him will be one of condemnation. MPP Ma.
We are not there at history point yet.
No, Chairman, history starts today. In fact, it started on Saturday. What you say? Minyasho say the next batch of MPP paying for would forgive this tragedy that has befallen them. Chairman, I didn't see that. Empire me Bonnie say, and me Jidi say, Owura John Mahama would do right by Ghanaians. I have that faith, sir. He will not overly exploit this advantage to do Nyoma Enye, because Mijidi said he wants to also leave behind a positive legacy. But in the way, if I say in a hypothetical situation, they decide to rather, unfortunately, negatively exploit this majority. Chairman, who name Nebesi Okroma? And then ejina near Akufo-Addo ye ama says almost self-subscribe na omo. So if posterity is going to be a judge of Akufo-Addo, the verdict is going to be one of condemnation, one of eternal condemnation. Obeko akwatena vie no kra na amanfo e boni dindim boni. Messages are be me jidi say MB before na send some messages no. Everybody is pointing at Akufo-Addo and mo omo penukra. He is the one they should be targeting. The omo anger they should be directing it at Owura Akufo-Addo. Onu na one man ya be abano. But me ka and maka and we no. My main congratulatory former president John Mahama for a one victory is more than resounding, is more than emphatic. But victory so it means, like I said from the beginning, Yetu Abanmawa is an expression of confidence, which means it brings in its wake some goodwill.
Okay.
And that goodwill means there are a great deal of expectations. Now, it is my prayer that near Mampenyi Dada Wasa Beye President-elect John Dramani Mahama Beye would not bruise the expectations of the good people of this country. And looking at the AC, I am sure he will be guided. Sir, when people express that level of confidence in you, now you take them for granted. Neombe no Ebiana Mudi Kra na echen MPP for the. And I'm sure he'll be guided by that. Ejumana ide ne nimnu neson. Chairman, Ghana, the position of Ghana today is not pleasant. When you look at especially the state of our economy and that from it requires a great deal of work. Ejuma ye here, ejuma kesie. And my only prayer is that the president and his team will apply themselves to the task ahead. And yes, idea Ghana for they may not have the patience to wait for 4 years because Ebimo are very despondent and they're expecting some relief in the short time and in the short term. Expectations are high. My belief is for him to have the respite to be here to work. He would need to moderate expectations, which may be difficult to do because ASR high expectations in abano. But it is necessary to attempt to moderate our expectations. No, now when you're quite I start here, you Juma SOE already or the new obey in the first 120 days about 26 of them. A bit more easily doable. A bit more, if you ask me, are a bit ambitious. But who am I to say ambitious? No one to me yet. Usha, I say why a crowd will say he wants to leave behind some abiding legacy. Until opeso you know who juma. And easy. But then he needs to extend an invitation to all Ghanaians. Say Yambran and Mbuano. But so Ben say yen NDC phone kwan ebe
Peace FM. Peace
FM. And he needs to extend that invitation to all Ghanaians, both in politics and outside of politics. And Ghana is blessed with fine brains, but Amanyo 70, I am the best of our brains to come and help. My prayer is that he will look beyond the pettiness of satisfying partisan interests. I mean, there are positions you can give to your party, but a true baby, first dream the way I be CSC Nyoma, and he's indicated say he wants to have an economic dialogue. He should extend the invitation to all Ghanaians who care to join and participate. Now, the most important thing for me, soon say, the party for no, they should moderate their expectations and what they hope to get from this administration. And Prempi obicho oppositions ana oba na adwia etechi nunko. I hope say they will be guided. No more moderate or more expectations about personal gains and as for because enu na ya edin crofo emman crofo ehwe from no. They should be very careful and be minded and guided as well by NCA so that ombetimi juma no the way Ghana for bebo mo abaso. But say if Omuvizo yatina opposition ache come the ache, and this is the time to make up for whatever they feel they lost in the last 8 years there. Chama yanjwe ya na akwaye bibia wo. Na mami bo ora Dr. Mahmoud Baumia Abaso. The chairman, he didn't wait for all the results to be collated.
He didn't have a choice, did he?
No. Chairman, Ebimu in not long ago, and they were holding on to the concession speech and a statement. What has Ebimu yet? And for him to have said, say, look, I've looked at the trend, Miami coalition, but this is the conclusion I've come to. There's no need wasting and keeping anxiety and tensions alive in this country. Mamimbe conceded, and Chairman is a statesman, and Mibona Basu. One thing that struck me in his speech, and he said, he extended a hand to Ora John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency. Say, anytime Bia officer, he would need his help. He would need his ideas. He's ever ready to contribute because the cooperation of Ghana, Chairman, this is statesmanly, and the concession brought down. Calmed tempers because before then now man for Ekazo yenja and this for no we are in the comfortable lead. That comfortable lead speech as a man for Jaye. And once you are sure you're following say we are also winning. Abraham say you are not winning. It keeps the tension at a certain temperature. But Oba Bontimbeka that was when a man for Ejitu says is here the baby Enya MPP for a winning. And people, said, look, this is an election. The outcome is binary. Either you win or you lose. You lose it. Once our leader has said it, Yejitum. And that is why you see some relative calm. Because Chairman Wambe Kasa, now a man for Facebook and other social media, so can say, winner. The tension could be higher. And maybe the casualties could have been worse. And to me, Bonabasu, me then as he said, why drink on my home. Now, we'll continue to keep government accountable. Yenina is our responsibility. We will urge and encourage government, but we will remain in the business of holding government accountable. Now, confidence they should not dare invest that confidence.
I think Medase Kokrokoo in Kumasi says, Chairman General, You build 9 interchanges in Accra where you don't have 50% of voters supporting you, and neglect Kumasi, which has not a single interchange. That was the NDC campaign in Kumasi, and the people bought into it. Kokrokoo Kumasi, well, interesting. They bought into it, that's fine. Okay. Chairman General, come to Ejura Sechidumasi right now. NDC supporters have taken over the Ejura Market revenue collection, invaded the municipal assembly, placed party flags and other properties there. Well, we'll check with Ashanti Regional reporter, Chief Reporter Samson Kwame Nyamiche, and find out any details on that. Nana Akufo-Addo is the one we should blame. Atika said the truth. Obatampa Onye says that one. Chairman General, how about those who tried to overpower soldiers and took their guns? Kofi Ganaba.
No, but that thing needs to be investigated.
This one from Mamiama in Jowolo. Atik Mohammed has expressed most of my sentiments about Nana Akufo-Addo. It's the reason why I didn't vote. Mamiama in Jowolo sends that.
This is becoming scientific. A man for using evidence to the claim I made. Say apathy was a function of the actions, attitude, and choices of Ora
Akufo-Addo. Chairman General, did Dr. Okoboy win? No, he did not. Nana Prempeh, Executive Director, STEM Parrot Foundation, says NPP lost largely due to economic hardships, and within the party too, they had weak party structures. The national chairman and the general secretary did not seem in control. But my thing is, politicians don't learn, because similar things happened to the NDC in 2016. Nana Prempeh and Ede Enobai. Kwame, where's Alan Tremanting? In the next 3 years, maybe nobody remember his name in our politics. Instead of him to be humble. Anyway, Niai from Osu. Okay. Abnori Ben says, tell the MPP the pension monies was for retirement, not nation building money. Afarita disco down. From within and from outside, one could clearly notice that the outcome of the election was a vote against Akufo-Addo. He caused his party with tin. Another key area MPP must take note is their delegate system. It's the same way. Delegate system. They be almost say, but fear delegates. Say nipa kakre bitimi ko.
They need to widen the
Prof.
Okay.
Yeah, your delegate system.
Nanka me can't say me kakra, but with my prof, you know.
Okay.
Kwame.
Yes.
Erika mame me ba Herbert.
And then the 21st, Charles Herbert.
And then 21st birthday. We love you. Keep being a good boy. Grow in grace. Na also brana beka Ghana paying for honey Ghana ye.
Amen.
Sanya I take a being out here. Charles, I don't wait you know why. I take and more than I take. Come me tea my main come in Kokrokoo phone. They have all gone to exercise their franchise. In fact,
franchise, yeah.
Franchise, yes. Me call to me who a couple of them are now they are being assisted. As to whether they got who they wanted to vote for there. That's another thing. But at least I was impressed. And Crawford Bomo, Omunyam Wadaje, say Omo Tuaba. Kwame, me krum, me constituency, Sujamai.
Okay.
Now, if anything, MP no, he was my junior in school.
Okay.
Madam for NDC.
Oh, Thomas Ampemnyako.
Aye. On the mini papa, and the Debia, men Crawford say, oh, now then, let me say, if you any fear, Kwame. Only Baby, I may say, oh, Tommy, Matas will win it. I'm the Chinkwa. Now, come in, welcome, Winnie.
Get them back in here.
Welcome, Mamma Trinkwa, Papa, Panamin will say, Nina Kokrokoo. Ube we now. Welcome, Mamma Trinkwa. And now, come many year tea. I'm saying about the third time of this year.
Right, Richard,
I like your demeanor. May catch you sometimes be say, Kwame, elections. I'm going to make some serious statements on elections. And it said here, Kwame, we may think say all is lost. It's not so. It's not so. The kind of means me more about so. I feel you've been very composed, well comported. And when a party paying for Nina Adamu room, maybe I may make a few comments on that. Kwame, generally elections, no, media meniaji for two things. One, me who say improvement said you see adie may come about maybe I said for the first time coming man coach Saku that's one of my biggest happiness. Me call and say ya chembe. Number two, Matisse a few challenges and difficulties by in some areas to be quite said many more yeah, say it should never happen at all. As I say, it's possible to record 0 death when it comes to elections. I mean, who didn't hear what they want to equity baby? I say, Obi bought you, and I also come with you. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And I see I recorded 0 death. And the many just say generally elections now koswa. Come general we kurumwa. Can you bad sir? Akoso peacefully. Na akoso ewie no kwame ejeabo ejenya bidu
ejanya ba mama so nkola na sombra sisi a
okay
nana for a reporter ewo adwira nana mache
bejuso
na then akoso wo
meda say oba adwira seteduma se sisi ya yembese ya assembly no ho na ndi for mobility amakwa kupeki assembly no holding na aboso intention say omuchesa banse sabade a ene bosu se adwira assembly no ndi dia they tintu ko sisi a me kase assembly no doors are holding na omude ko jan akwa bobo holding na meti ya dem ka ko ene mi se sabe obi na se sisi dia no bi kuma ya na omude ko jan eta bobo dia ho na de timbo shi ko do na te se enye obi na film na mum ndc for na o ma ko ho no mo omude ko jan abobobo ye assembly ho no nyina na assembly japade ho no mkasa ho no machine ho no omude ko jan bobo ho nyina no mo de assembly ndc flag ada bobo so nyina etese se de aban so san bon tere be di o se na drip machine ho no wa aba ya na do no na chi mo gen se di kan se de party dia kala ede bobo so no omo pa wa ye NPP kala so ho nyina asiro pepa me ka se mo ni nyina before na omo de NDC flags ada bobo ho na omo de ko jan cha bobo ho flags ho nyina including assembly no an kasa dan na kasa model fly ko tini abobo assembly na dan na kasa no ena mo akate omo maka dia entu eya se no ya pare titin ene drip no omo ni jofin de e ko pemi say best way jo mama in die omo maka bi entu ho mfise cars no ene japade na yo modia omo free ho no ena omo de omo ni kire eye market ene ejo eye graduate nti ugbe jinta ti mo form ke titi ben change na ba ebe be diga na apart for na be calm situation down omno mo kasa basa bia nti to connect David Benz wo assembly wo ke nti wo pe sama me kasa market wo so o ma de market ni dwanyi na aboso na revenue collectors mo ho no mo ka mo ho eno mo ajeje eye papers kita mo ske kita mo na mo diska no ti ticket mo na ya diska na ticket na te ajiska no omo say NPP for din kugwe omo super say assembly no any before the cambo. Now, Scar, I was say, a quite some holding in a what is coming in a the of the matter at the Jamua, the keep coming in a journey in a movie. No more this kind of come out family. No more track to or mobile be say. Scanner a JG, saying a winner, Nayara was in some of the air, Piano, a month penema, a 3 and net, a joke. As I'm no any BB, almost say it. See about Anamene or more moody search man, and some little say, Obia Mamutu Misa, say, yes, sir, in crowding, and I'm where, no more say. Among Trema, yes, your mamma in crowns and a moody search man. Now, 2016, a bit, you could say. Ebra, excellency, a year, Manakufado, every day, and yes, in you. And I interview for Maguno, a cocoa J, a subset said, your mom would speak toilet and Munina. If you hold Emma, a Maguna, and Yama, no more Yen, school feeding for no, a Mokapon, Munina, Niana, school for no, or what between Yana, shake the good form, Naya, and Tiana, a Musa Bayan Badia, and a Musa the Kyo Vejra, a Dredger, and I feel assembly. It is very that they are possible. I have been 24 and a more aguso and your more cata. What was a beer man to Kobian body in the moon? Very a costume, a near Yankaka. I say a situation in our Telephone and what you account down. That of course,
I see, but at least Obian Praye, Amonia, almost say Bibia or Hoyer.
The patch of an idea, I won't say Bibia, Obian Praye. Time, a 24 now more Abua, more and your more Cassatil than I think. Just say yes money, but a police focus on Mocassin as it said, Omega Domoya, and the Winja, say, Jano, or Mufi was any FA Jam Assembly or more revenue collectors or more money. That be a Munja, a Munia one, say via Red Tea, or more flags above home. And they put them down, down, over the you know, move away. I don't know what I said, so they're possible.
Yo, Medasi piano pay nano for Bibiani Bessan Baby TV, that's Papa. Nano for a reporter, a dra and a training cano. Prof.
Yes, sir.
Brem.
Yo. And the coming the report here, maybe become some kakra. Kwame, last year, I think a few days after MB4 a call on my primary school, when we say MSA run of Ibe Muana, was it between President Bamiane? No, second one. Yes. Yeah. That was the second one. Now, maybe that was on the 23rd of October last year. Me make a statement, be I'm person inside ACSU. Come make I say, anytime you set a challenging target, then be ready to embrace extraordinary steps, and actions, because you don't achieve great feat on the altar of mediocrity. Now, I made a statement. Now, MPP party no breaking the 8. Now mantra na start breaking the 8, breaking the 8. Breaking the 8. And American has a yes, yeah, the alufu we can never break the 8. Yeah, for Ejumadem. At that time, Kwame, now you take a lot of disenchantment in the in party faithfuls. They say and Crawford and when Monkwan AD, and you know when you start hearing such statements, Kwame say we will be a what that dominimua. Some of those statements you quickly caution you, say something is cooking down there. He say me too anambo. Now one of the things that are very important is that Kwame, power is very fluid and relational. To me, yensaka one saka a dynamic. A warning Crawford on the share said to me. And I agree with me. He said we would have to take a second look at say obin enya power we are. Sa relationship that the party and the government is a very slippery one. And even though they were buying or a part of the party, But over for me government part, because of potentially technocratic limitation, on be a part of the governance. On a tomame, Kokrokoo would not me buy. But you can't government business. Said you see money funny technicalities, expertise, be here. Come and be part of it. Now, this gap, this connect, a problem. How do you balance a nipanoa? Say baby and the school and queenie. Be a foot soldier. The big man is a very bicycle. Or baby, Wako company amount. He can do all the many works and jobs near the amount. With Obia Kwame said baby or tea office about time. Now balance sheet. Now a procurement. Now idea. How do you balance that? How do you make sure say any pay ya or two abamame or fem hono? Make me a cater for the needs. Now Mama Nafilese or a part of all this. And I think it was a big challenge. And it has been. Now elections here be results not just say Ampa Kwame. I a big challenge. In fact, because power is fluid in relation, you know, there be a winner no should always, or the leader no should always be cautioned. Say acquire me via and say no the onerous responsibility na abeda and this force.
Yeah.
Na me baho. Say war celebrating, you know, the same dynamic here. Ekosu here is 2016 now, and then a play out no maybe caught up with them in the next 4 years or 8 years. Now, I suspect strongly that the and before I know the Kwame, they know. Obi Obagasa Munim, the SMO ye, no my be I think you're not being fair to them. They know very well. But they can know better. Just say, to me, LDB account. Said they will set up inquiry because prior to this election, Kwame, there were issues. I mean, we are not here to just represent the issues. Several of them, from economy to Kwame, the illegal mining, the destruction of our water bodies, Kwame, there were issues. We those major issues now, even within the party, Sankasa, there were issues. Programming. Other stations who are about to say we yes. Now the impact they say apathy set in. Apathy setting in, you know. Usually it will start from unfulfilled promises. As soon as say I am MP, as I'm into Abamano. The only thing I can do, make me first come on Kwame. Make me but make me consume, make me an ante, make me run errands, make me cook with sumano. Those are my contributions. Now onya abanu yepa nan me. So unfulfilled promises, Kwame perceived corruption, lack of representation. Say efedie onya wie no. Say na menya atikeke. Obe fra.
Obi enfi no.
Oh. Also, my friends on about my Jana Kora. Oh, friend, also, the man come here. He will come here again. And Pampa coming very smooth and go back because we here Nipan vote people. I think, Kwame, the negative media coverage. Kwame, look, that make us say you have said. Say perception is say the uncrofusi who are DFA, FIB, MPP. If that perception appears to be factual by some data, appears who say a be any but I yes say yeah your hope was say it moves away from perception to people believing that it's a reality.
Peace FM.
It's a media no coverage no may be as if any say I buy for cra galamse no mu bi or more can say bensuo I say Ghana nsuo or more can so ni na ekoso. All of these things I believe that the party is aware. Internal conflict and war. NFA, lack of accountability, transparency, Nina Omoye aware. Kwame, Ayana Meno, Mempesa, Mede, one person sigo. Say, Bia, Asumesi, and a year. The Indiana may avoid it and say, Ebasa Hapana, I say, party no, Obako for Abe an autocrat. Just say, okay, be, but at least to give MPP the benefit of the doubt, at least more structures. And it's a be uncle, Emma structures now Juma. And I think say from the president to the vice president to the party structures to Nkrofua omo he almost say omo party no so to wanga conduct elections and omo campaign no. I mean factors now ama loss na bano we could spread it across all of these areas. Ama lessons now omesuana are very comprehensive. But coming quickly, Mami make some comment on this very serious loss. Now, first, Mr. Kwame, losing an election is not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world at all. In fact, Kwame, wow, I can say Donald Trump. I mean, he's embroiled over the last time I counted over 20 lawsuits after 2020 elections. No, he was really rich. I say, I don't know him. Or Fahani Nishane Owini. I don't know Owini case. No, by the next day, never 10 cases are dropping that because the government say, Charlie, me push out the further. I need to be a bit nice. And he said, Obi losing an election is a temporary event. You don't have to make it an eternal state. It's a temporary event. Don't make it an eternal state. And wanga kasena we die just say ya say party no kura no kure. Come here no kure. 2016 mamenka ubi meti ubi asem. Obi be kan ha say NDC will never come back again. They are destroyed.
Now, I saw for you be cracking.
Oh my God! I say, oh, in fact, the party is destroyed. Goodness, say there. In fact, me tell you because we say MPP will rule for the next 40 years. I have that on my phone. But I could say, oh, 30 vision, 32 years.
Is it not interesting? Say, Nyamikrona, who say.
And losing an election is a temporary event. You don't have to make it an eternal state. And a hono ena maybe share and before inquiry. Say this is a time for reflection, and it's also a time to be hard on yourself. Say adibia say yeah and like many are taking. This absolute majority means that Kwame, if you were running at 120 kilometers per hour, Kwame, you need to make it maybe 240. Because I'm now what they back and was say we reclaim the Diana or the first.
Yeah.
And some of us say to me haji obi dia ka ho a. Te wo dia no kra yaji more. No kra is a lot of work for you. And the first is that there's a lot of reflections. As I say, omo fa ba too. Omo hwe di odi o mani mo no ne di mina. Kwame, I can tell you Vice President Bawumia is stunning. I'm telling you.
Really?
Oh, I'm telling you. He's stunning. Look, me share that tea no Andra. Let's go beyond statesmanship. I'm a psychologist.
Yes.
And I'm analyzing him as a person. Kwame, to lose an election, one I can say yeah.
Sure.
To be able to even organize yourself, one, make a speech, two, then concede, three, and then even say nipa no win no, which to that is an enemy. You don't have to even ask him say in fact you even wish that nipa na or lose your car and to be able to say look, I'm available. Bibia we still have Ghana at heart. Look, the man is standing, I'm telling you. And me bona baso papa and I come di oye and run. Watch say oye penyinia ibetumi di ho atono so. But I can tell you also that look, the area Mahama ye Oluzu 2016. Now Obeluzu 2020 so. That is also Kwame a mark of resilience. Because I'm telling you, it is not easy to lose an election. Now, so come say you are done. And I come auntie.
Yeah, oh baby.
And so for and come say that is the end of him. Where are those pastors today?
Just as often crying Mundiana.
And you know, I'm analyzing a nipano. And you know about me, I should not be discouraged at all. Look, the kind of composure was shown and Rana Chame say, this gentleman is a solid leader. To be able to accept defeat and then tell yourself, say, we are coming back. Now, if I say they are going to subject incoming government, the policies to the strictest scrutiny. I like that. And I just say, answer me kotiada. Membe bauna the ocha asano. Onim say nechi.
Nechi.
Enti no me bona baso pa. Okome. Mame mo Yewura Mahama nso abaso. To be honest with you, Kwame, why papa ye metin come share ebi kura so na okura akofuna bi ni ajefe ni ntem ebi ni nsem me tie obi say ohun say buburo 4 ednachi na mu nyina skata obi say obeshini church ye ntwen o obi say obeshini body ma hu obi o say obeshini body oba akose obetu efiga na akotogo sango for nyina anyere na ese etwam for nyina leadership bis empenyin say when you penyin now conviction Kwame yentie the enkrofo it can be brave because it can discourage you especially in your moment of agony and loss na hona mesre you know about me I say or managing home memma nim breaking it too much na mabo President Mahama abaso say why ya dear papa say ye kan sem gunu so ye hye nkom gunu so won ehun ni won ehun won omo say not ponko bi so a ponko na hwe ase ba ko say e de ponko e na e de bia bo ponko na nine na ponko na mu ni atoso enne wa be leader ponko no ame so sore na nipa na ehun enti why ya dear pa na mo Kwame ye de so onso a now, Kwame, it comes with a lot of expectations.
Yeah.
And I like how Arctic put it. Say, Kwame, usually, voter turnout and such a massive win should tell you the quantum of expectation. Yeah, the amount, you didn't actually say. Yeah, say, over 10 years and also around for good. And it means say, pressure be there a bit done so papa. In fact, come right from Kokrokoo by now aircon in China him for freno now modern Kokrokoo called the dinko appointees eba now he freno obi owa Yewura Mahama ya de wo unhunu da for the past 8 years until and oh hello oh sir wonderful hey I went in check
we won no because we didn't watch him we won
I think about it.
As unknown campaign.
I think about it. We won. We thank God, not much. Oh, I want to make time and pass by and say hi. And then also we need to work hard. Not just come here to hear it. Now, Kwame, I think sir, post election winning violence ebano is shameful. Now, as I say, me can be second time say it's shameful. As I see a giant size subino. Say when we in election, me can say last time they took over toilets. Come on, guy. Toilets, toll booth, market, and the secondary school warehouse I did they are breaking in and taking it. It's shameful. Yes, I'm Ghana for. Hey, I done here. Oh, and the amuyi say one I lose no so I can say I want them who you yes, I man. Entity a consign peace pact. Many are take ya say it doesn't bite and bite it, but anchor we are appealing to your conscience. So peace pact. The philosophy is that we want to appeal to conscience. Enti yema ya hunim enye adwuma. Na owura na wedding kunimono I don't think that he will sanction this kind of behavior. enti yesremo ye nuanom andisifo na mani age a mon jubilate mon da nyame ase momo mpa ema mura President Mahama ne woni a obeponte mo na wodi aye adwuma na fe mom enjoy the violence now when election and oppression should rather make you jubilate and rather protect the albino resource or the bay adwuma no bon ban men ko say no na sukufu nduani a okoyi a wo de ko yede e kombe ya na diwa enti sukufu aduani e de ama wa wo be oba o school ho na aduani a wo say papa makoyi mikodi na ne wo ye no free wo won ga sisi toilet won ga ji market no won ji market say dey come ni reporter here kai na tobu say tobu kwa dey say tobu ze ye nyi say tobu to hanka kwa me kende kan no so kai
en come back oje
yes remo mom ye njai sa suba na fata ye ni mkwase ye win elections na ye ma obuo embra ho kakra na ba bia ye du no ye nimu a ene ye ko na ye nka hu say from until hoda
openye jikom de bia aka
se ya oyonko da hwa o na ya weni age a o ka say hey mani age o me ka che MPs na wini na say obi ahwe ne wi na the Ghanaian voter no ere ba no kire say kwame this protest vote and I promise I'm from protest vote ya abe revenge vote ya abe say we a winner they are telling you say you may suffer worse fate if you are not cautious. And more parliament money aje na you tuno. When say no, who nya kwa enko consensus you. And nipa na we tuno no. Obe wo wase. Obe hura. For the next 4 years. And I say we yam crash so. Na wo ye adwumaden. Na momo no menko yi na hi. Te wo celebrate here. Now Kwame, the law is moderation. That's the principle. Be moderate and extend grace. Kwame, that is the grace that Irabamia extended here. He has extended grace.
Okay.
Now, Mestre Abai incoming President in Penny for say, Omomasa grace now so yen fine juma. Matese bino kasakasa ye be chenko fu nyina tum Mate say make you be so security for na be chiche mo ana what kind of chaos is any ba no nya aba no ya to ewie bebia de din ya twa na ya na so yewura Mahama say wadi nkunim Kwame 4 years pe ono kura mpo na dia impo die Kwame owi o
yeah
ana abesa me bi
Debbie
enfia
just ABS
me kai say dem Kwame 4 years are
there they have
German
over one
no we the referendum and
Kwame easy Kwame dem ngani better 2020 okay
me guy say me no
Kwame dem ha ene e kan so dey see here there na 4 years yes at here ebe ye ni be mo tete no na aba yesremo we nya eternal governance a temporary leadership 4 years pe 4 years no so a yes an shapen ye kokroti anu bi mu so obi de no de twitwi we so on say 2024 o akoto ba kwa me di wie no kwa me voter turnout no but he said 7 million, is that right? Anko
almost
6 a little over 6 million.
A little over 6 million.
Antwaba. But I don't believe say a MPP for I think generally Kwame, civil education, I think say taking it serious. A young crop for say me kotwaba na me nyaso mfaso bia ma me ntwa bibio. I don't think that is that should be the wisdom. Baby. Yes, sir. If you don't participate in choosing your leader, you have no legitimacy in commenting on what happens in the nation. Participate, be part of it. You perceive selected leaders. Kaho na yanko selected na we amount boldness say oh we dey hanko yi. Enti one man to be nyina no. Kwame, are they going to comment say bia yenra Mahama started to be an man queen and an idea. Or make us say, Nimama idea.
So on to India,
but you want to be an account 20, but I think say we need to work on that. This is quite a huge amount. I think it's high, is that right?
Yeah,
This is the high.
almost 1.5 million
Yes,
votes.
this is the highest in
This is the highest in history. Come in serious.
both parliamentary and presidential.
Presidential, yeah.
And you cry now.
Where they from?
Oh, now come in. What it means, they say Yaboka.
Are they?
Oh, now say printed.
Printed. in
We
masses.
printed. We are printed in anticipation. Say if we had about 12 million, how many were?
About 18 million.
18 million.
Registered.
And
So give or take, maybe 15,
Yes.
14.
minimum how much each bundle will cost. But I'm told say it's about 50 leaflets or more than that.
Okade Yabubi.
Yaboka. Enti you can say Yaboka. Come here, man, kwa nema ekabano. The electric, you can we say Yabo a bank fnam. Say sikano. Say Yakotoya. Anka you make use of the money. Enti yesre Ghana phone na no we afutu. Saade na ebi moto ho. Me de me nto ba mom yenya saade ne. Na oma aban boka keke. Minim say baby o ha wan koto ba be che wo dia. But this is other countries.
In some other countries, yeah.
Maybe a China for the South. And I said North Korea.
Kwame na yemmo maame no abaso. Jimensa.
Oh my idea, easy idea.
Oh, easy idea, papa. Why are you? Team Esremo, yenga ye condemn me ye do me mom yenjai. Na you hunu say kakra ometumi aye no ometumi aye me de ma si obia Ghana yidi na Kwame yempo Ghana is bigger than any political party.
Right. Obviously, voter apathy, also can be. I'll say SDA focus on better, but or sure so man to. Francis Brakwa says, "Tell Prof that the looting and unwarranted attacks are difficult to handle at this time to January 7. From now until then, there's no effective government in place.
How?
The current government has been rendered toothless. Tell Atik that it's not for him to tell Ghanaians to moderate their expectations. Ghanaians have voted for the NDC. We expect them to deliver. Maxwell and Abaye. And then this one says, I believe the president-elect should come out and calm his supporters. And then, okay. Let it be known that psychological services has been made available by Accra Psychiatric Hospital for anyone who need it post-election. Omare Boache, we hear you. And then this one says, on a lighter note, Afanyo Markin has been re-elected safely as minority leader.
Well, I mean, for now.
And if I were to advise,
I think you keep that to yourself.
If I were to advise,
but let me personally congratulate one person. For San Trophy Akpafulolo Likpe, aka Sal, Fred Agbanyon, MP elect for Sal. 80 Miami near Fred Agbanyon.
Fred, congratulations.
Me bona baso baby obia say finally victory came home. So to Fred Agbanyon, MP elect for Sal, my personal congratulations and that of Team Kokrokoo to you.
Oh, Kwame,
on that one.
My uncle, Kwame, you were about me, Nere Samira. Now Ujana home. Now we know man or some man a hug count. Why are they? Come at this. Oh, come at this stage, Obia uncle rest kakra. Free me, I mean, it's not easy. Mabre. Obia taking some days, Kwame. Now uncle rested, uncle home, uncle Jumon
to coin.
Maybe I can't to the.
I am moment to go.
Oh, come someone to buy
tourism locally.
I'm
Tourism locally.
Okay, apparently in Australia, voting is compulsory.
Yes.
Okay. Kweku from Spintex, thank you. Also in Australia, voting is compulsory. I'll be so there, but also in Australia, you vote, you go receive a fine.
I see.
Interesting. I didn't know this.
I don't know. Is that still a democracy?
It's a democracy.
Yeah. Okay. Agbanya got 2 cents. It says voting is compulsory in Australia.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I didn't know this.
Yeah. I don't. But I know. But I don't know about the fine. But the point is that still a democracy? If you can make the individual choice to vote or not.
You are part of.
In itself is a choice.
Yes.
So,
Yes, but I'm
choice one way or the other. Yeah. Anyway, Chama General.
Mapon.
I made it in some kakra BFE. I take the no. Just on from here, dear, but I'm say conclusion or reach here no too hasty. To say His Excellency Nana Danko Akufo-Addo nini ye anase na mebu the comma yen to me ending nkunimu no it's scientific. It's not scientific as all canon because the American say senka ye wini ya nka sem we nyina eremba
and so you sanka ni free wa
and I see a proceed with caution. Say one can make that definitive conclusion. Say and no nakofaba.
We were running on his record, and yes, sir.
No.
If that failed, it means his record was abysmal.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But they see, and then no.
Only 49,
NDC lost in 2016.
Yes.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was running on his record.
Yes.
Okay. And then they say they have been validated. His posterity will judge me issue is appearing. Say all we need to know. Patch say posterity has been kind to him in terms of his record. But at that time, you can say we win it poto. We don't. What I say, and so we cannot be conclusive.
People before him.
You know what I'm saying? Say when things don't go right, it is possible to blame so many things. But when they go right, it is possible to praise the same thing you are blaming to be the reason you have won. So let's not rush into making that conclusion. You see, the other thing I'm making is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will win the election. His personality, said was it conducted does not reflect their NDC for no air. It doesn't reflect. Or you'll be away basa basa. Or you'll be a me no wo kasa yi obefoaso anase wona asoma mo hye mo kutu paso mo koyesa ade no enti no asode da NDC fo ankasa so members no medical akase His Excellency John Mahama nankasa onfre anase onne NDC fo nya kasa kire but omo ankasa anso so no nipa no a omo ato abama no oye John Dramani Mahama be president oba be president omo nim se onte sa je ne so ba no enti omo hwe no na omo behave appropriately na omo nyai say omo ede embrana show omo nsemu a other places bebre am say na okanya was so westward
South for example even NDC penny for be cry aja tum say they've lost that seat but you have to try some
yes it's too much I say as district assembly toilet o deben ye tu ahye ho a ye pam ni pa afri enya dia ese omoyesa and now me know what has say no Nana Danko Akufo-Addo is still the president of this republic entino so obi yes anyoma no a say be ya asomdwe beba entino ye nka say police for nko che omana so monye ye be ka say omonye omodwuma police for no omonye omodwuma apart from election task force na ye come asem dan party on making sure ebo a share Ghana for nyina say no be say kabrofo bebre no ye guso a ekurasa ansem okaka ye no eguso ehwe kwai say obedi ne nsem nyina so ye waka ahye ebo no obedi so na ama Ghana yakoedim na Chama General made the manusi no and he say NDC for omo bibi or omo manifesto omo say ORS or said oral omo hia say sa oral no implementation no e be start efi omo thugs ya omo running around say aban nyoma fat nyoma enya dia say omo kofa no they should start with them and hold them accountable say victory abano eno nkyere say yenko vandalizing nyoma and kyere say omo konko ye ade a emra emma omo kwan so omo nkoye omo to omo bo na aban no transition no enko so asomdwe mu na omo emra medi omo no so na de omo ka no Chama General, me na me say nka ne ye be adwuma saa kosi 2 o'clock because me oh say their prof kai your flag bearer kai we'll hold them to account. They won't find any inch here that we are not going to hold them account. Parliament to me absolute majority, but on the streets, on the streets of our country, in the studios, at the radio and TV studios, we hold them to strict account. Say more about government, Nyoma mukenya the dimako 24-hour economy, or say 120 days.
Okay.
So
in the meantime, Yenyana in TS NDC supporters are called NADMO headquarters.
This is getting
police for NADMO headquarters.
Chairman, on this occasion, we need to appeal to His Excellency the President. A statement from him will stop all this.
Absolutely.
It's becoming one too many.
And Sam Pine says the emotional outburst is expected, but it is not necessary. We can't blame hearsay and should be based on evidence. By the way, the lawlessness by NDC supporters should be condemned, especially by President-elect Mahama, Johnson Esiedun Ketia and their leaders. There could be reprisals, and if that happens, nobody will win. Sampine,
I agree. A statement from His Excellency will do a great deal of good. But more importantly, now reach their accountability. Accountability, appointees or mutisu se CIA. You be your more accountability now, Chairman. You be a bit for us, we will encourage it, because part of the reason there was no such courage to deal with the president's own. When the time is right for people to be called to account, and might be before say be why when ye be ndi ye probi obi amen ko gina ho say we ye party we be kwama nipa no. If the person is innocent, the person will come out clean. But when you're innocent, amen ko gina baby say we kwama because we a party back. That for me is important. Accountability must go everywhere. Let
me go now.
Let us all support.
It's a 11:15.
Accountability.
I take me that save Richard Ahiagba. I'll see your person upon 2 p.m. Then I say Professor Osafo me that say Anope. I gotta go now. Yeah, sorry. So in the meantime, Engineer Johnson Adai is 79 years old. Engineer Johnson Adai, formerly of GNTC Bottling and Pepsi Cola. Happy birthday, number 79. God continue to bless you richly. Engineer Johnson Adai is from your entire family, especially from your baby last Dr. Yankson of BRRI to you. And Pastor Akomia Dompre of Winners Chapel International, Ibuakwa Kumasi, is from your wife Doris Akomia Dompre and the children. We gotta go. Kofi is next. Back tomorrow morning. May your day be blessed. And as always, remember to keep your dreams and hopes alive. It's all you have. And when you stop to say a prayer, remember to say one for me too. God